Hi everyone, it's Amy, and I'll be talking about my reflection on my sustainability capstone project and my interior design exit project that I collaboratively worked on this semester. When I thought about what would interest me or directly impact me, the ultimate concepts led back to home. Being in Athens for the past 4 years had made me realize that although I'm pursuing something that I genuinely enjoy, there is still a part of me that remains more comfortable being around familiar people and landscapes. Because of this, I thought, how can I integrate what I learned at school and bring it back home? Ultimately, I decided on renovating the high school that I went to, Central Gwinnett High School. The most challenging aspect of this project was to make my design appealing yet functional while taking into account the 3 spheres of sustainability. The drive of my project was mainly to create spaces that would encourage and promote the equity and quality of education for students. Since I based my project off of the Green Building Rating System LEED, I decided to focus on certain credits, specifically energy efficiency, indoor air quality, and the site and outdoors. There are a bunch of benefits to designing a green school. For one, it promotes dynamic learning opportunities, creates productive learning environments, and helps maintain healthy spaces. The addition of outdoor spaces, especially for Central Gwinnett, would be a great thing to have because not only would it promote the physical activity for sports teams and physical education courses, but also for school-hosted or community-hosted events. For the longest time, Central Gwinnett has had the image of being a ratchet or ghetto school, filled with a lot of troublemakers. Since I've basically grown up with these kids, I know that that wasn't true, and I always wanted to change the image that Central had. They say that the eyes are the windows to the soul, and so maybe I thought if I were to literally change the image of Central, maybe that will attract more students, parents, or even what the general public would think about it. My first approach to this was, of course, making the school more attractive on the outside and somehow integrating that similar beauty into the inside. Because the school had several attachments to its main campus over the past 50 years, transitional walkways are somewhat awkwardly spaced, and even an entire floor of the building is vacant. I decided that to lessen that inelegant approach, I would somehow make the site feel more grand, while also maximizing the use of what already exists. A lot of K-12 schools focus on the minimal function of a space rather than accounting for how the occupants would feel. I've noticed that at the art school at UGA, students prefer to study and sit outdoors, so why not incorporate something similar to a courtyard space but make it more relaxed like a park? As for the vacant floor in one of the school's buildings, something that inspired me to design a green roof in place of that are school rooftops in Japan. Japanese school rooftops are reoccurring scenes in TV shows that are paired with moments when students need to take a step outside to clear their minds and reset their day. I thought that this would be a great opportunity to turn the idea of a Japanese rooftop into something more organic, maybe a green roof that would house native plants and vegetation, utilize a rainwater system to irrigate the greenscape possibly. There is currently another renovation to the main campus of Central Gwinnett called SODA, or School of the Arts. And after looking over the new floor plans of SODA, I still felt that there is the same sense of disconnect between the existing buildings and the new building. The hallways going from building to building feels kind of like a labyrinth, and something that I would feel would not be too attractive when over 2,000 students are navigating to their classes. I decided to create open collaborative spaces that would make the transitioning feel more comfortable. The music wing, for one, instead of looking rigid and flat like before, would now have curved walls that would aid in acoustics and make room for a lounge space that wasn't there before. 2 other spaces that kind of complement each other are the interactive library and indoor greenhouses. In the library, those are specifically for special education students. The interactive library is designed to be very flexible, very open, and to overall provide a healthy environment where students can enjoy themselves and feel comfortable while learning. And the greenhouses are also great because indoor greenhouses can be accessed by everyone, specifically the one that I designed, and serve as extra outdoor classroom spaces where students can learn about native or adaptive vegetation, or see how rainwater can be turned into a site emphasis. Overall, I hope and I think that my designs are pretty reasonable, because green schools are something that I feel will be very beneficial, especially after the pandemic is over. While schools don't have to have an indoor greenhouse or a green roof both together, but to some extent, if they were to take into account any sustainable strategies, that's a pretty good start. Thank you all for listening to my project reflection and a pretty lengthy spiel on my thought process and design. I'd like to thank my interior design professor John for always throwing out crazy ideas for me to work on, my sustainability professor Tira, and our grad assistant Katie for being supportive and connecting me to the resources that are helpful for my project. And lastly, I'd like to shout out my sister for giving input whenever I showed her my work, and just being honest with me with how she feels if she were inside some of my designs. Thanks again for listening, and maybe I'll see you all next time. Bye!